Hello everyone, Fanny Menardi, welcome for this new conference about my Encyclopedia. Today we are learning a new chapter 3, the last one of the book, a kind of magic. So this whole last chapter is more about the esoteric knowledge, paranormal manifestations, related to all the content, the symbols, and mostly the people that I talk about in the book. These people are amazing magicians once you learn to master the symbols, but mostly, I guess, with some practice of natural abilities, you're able, and understanding the science behind it, because the science gives you the proof and the confidence, okay, that it's real, that you can actually use telepathy. You can actually move things from a distance. Telekinesis, telepathy, levitation, all this stuff are 100% possible. But before I start, once again, I always want to give a quick message. You know that I'm trying and really want to work with the US government. So the question is when? If not now, when? Because if we're waiting, I'm campaigning for the Nobel Prize. Hopefully we trust each other so much, and it's an honor, for all of us, for the Nobel Prize Committee to be gathered all together in such an amazing event. But at the same time, there is a job that just opened up at the US government as Director of National Intelligence. I don't want to wait. I want this. I can do it. I want to be your daily correspondence with what's going on with the FBI, the CIA, the US government, the alien disclosure, international negotiation strategies, peace negotiations, assist Secretary Rubio in his work, in his campaign, be your best fan, your best supporter, bring some critics, also some different perspectives from all the critical themes that are going on, like the war in Ukraine, the war in Gaza, the Abraham Accords, which, funny enough, I realized the symbol after I did that. This is a Viking symbol. It's called Valknut, and it's a symbol of strength, protection, and I realized yesterday that it's like almost the same logo at the Abraham Accord. So you see, there is no coincidence. So if not now, when, guys? And if not me, who? I have optimal relationship with all the journalist networks, with all the government. I'm a true loyal fan. When I don't agree with something, I say it. I don't want to be just saying yes to everything. We have to represent everyone's voice. And yes, I think I will be great at this job. I will have to work a lot, but I don't have nothing else to do. I'm here in the mountain, and it's so wonderful to be in the Alps and to drink all the time. But being a waitress at 40 years old, after I traveled around the world to work with embassies and build my career, which completely stopped when I got to the United States, like the United States owe me. They have a debt towards me. I gave all my life for my kid, my husband's career, and in return I got terrorist attacks and censorship and blackmail and lost my home and lost my cats, my dog, my kid. Being here working as a waitress, it's insulting. If you're the owner, it's your restaurant, it's your business, it's good for you. If you're 20 years old and you're loving to go out with your friends and doing all this kind of stuff that I've done 1,000 times in my life, and I've done plenty of that, and I'm grateful, and everywhere I am, I'm trying to make the best of it. But this is just insulting for me to be just, wiping floors and serving out plates when, being paid minimal salary, when I should be working with the government, which is what I studied for 20 years ago, what I've worked for my entire time that I was in the US, denied everything, and now writing this book for y'all. I want to join in. I want to be your best friend, your best supporter, and campaign for the Nobel Prize, campaign for the presidential elections, for Marco Rubio and Carl Higby, vice president. Oh my God, did you hear his presentation about Memorial Day? That was so touching. I was just soaking every second of it. People that just have it in the soul, that care so much about their country, about their work. And if you're not doing this, you're kind of bored anywhere else. You're a great person, you're nice with your people, you talk to the salesperson at the shop. Like, I talk to everyone everywhere I am. I'm super nice, but I'm never really here because this is not where I want to be and my soul is not fulfilled. When I'm at work, it's not work, it's just, a place I have to be so I can pay my bills. It's easy. I just do the hours and I come home. My real work starts when I come home and I get online and I gather the news and I present my book, or I advertise for the news networks or for the politician. This is my work. And discovering, I'm really, really good at tying pieces together. I've solved so many cases, even not even seeing nothing from the FBI or anything, just by intuition. So imagine what we can accomplish once we get to those classified files. And I'm really good also at explaining complicated topics that people maybe will freak out about, but because I freaked out about it before and it happened to me before. I've been in a vortex. I've been seen aliens. I've been kidnapped and woke up in my bed like in the movies, like, wait, was that a dream? I've had all these experiences that freak out the people, but that were supposedly conspiracy theories or some crazy spiritual things that in fact now are proven that they're classifying everything and it's proven to be right. So how do we explain it to the people? I want to be that person, and I have all the network of the crazy spiritual behind me also, and all the political network, the from Europe, from America. Like, I want to be you guys' bridge. So pick me up, Marco Rubio. If you're watching this, I can be packed in 2 hours, and while I'm making you a drink while you're waiting for me packing. But I'm not gonna be begging every day. That's not something I'm really tired of. So my state of mind, and I know that it's really nice for a man to come and deliver the princess, but I've worked all my life to not be that, to be an independent, strong career woman that was denied. I followed my husband's career, and it's very important for me to have that career. Now, if nobody comes and show up for me, of course, it would be the honor, no matter what, to meet at the Nobel Prize, because I want to believe that this is gonna happen. Literally, if we don't have this Nobel Prize this year, who else has given you the best literature in the entire world and made it alive within networks from all around the world? Even people like, I would turn a Catholic, a Christian 100% into a believer in Egyptian, thought mythology and stuff. So because it's people understand that this faith in God doesn't translate just in one religion, but through visuals now and through signs that we see everywhere. And now we feel this connection to the esoteric everywhere we go, with signs and mostly thought. When you connect with thought, it's crazy. I'm pretty sure that all the people who have been following the network now for the past few weeks, you're starting to see crazy signs around you. I mean, maybe it was already before, but I know for me when it started, like I see the other day I was posting about thought, and I see the next day a little scarab. Last night I was posting about a cat. I walk in the forest and I see a little cat there waiting for me. Crazy, and all those little signs that says, okay, we're with you, you're guided. There's always those spirits around you. So it's so interesting. So yes. And yeah, guys, been waiting for Prince Charming to come and save me when I was in my castle in Florida. Unfortunately, Prince Charming never came, and I sold all my freaking house for nothing, my furniture, everything. So, I got nothing now to hold on to. I'm ready to fly, go wherever. Hi, guys. So let's start the chapter. Are you ready? My favorite chapter of the book, where I'm gonna snitch on new people and reveal to the world that you guys are aliens. Okay? So a kind of magic. So all these, I'm pretty sure you've seen, the dollar bill and stuff, where you see all these Masonic signs, symbols, Illuminati, all this stuff that they're like, oh look, they all belong in a sect, and it's true. It's simply true, guys. It's just, I guess, the world is so how do you say, so much in their lanes of their religions that they get scared of something different. Remember, we used to burn witches and people who use those things. So people who believe in the esoteric is nothing contradictory with the Christian religion, or the Muslim religion. All these religions, they have symbols, they use symbols all over the place, but it's true that they are alive and they have a frequency. Actually, the Resonance Science Foundation, when we started discovering each other, is because I was painting the symbols and they were studying the frequency of the symbols to reprogram the water, or simply your environment where you live in. So these mystics are highly educated and intentional. The images you display, the words you use, they will keep you accountable for all of it. This obligates us to manage our emotions and reactions to minor speech and our beliefs. Our words must be impeccable and our attitude should always carry wisdom. Of course, we are human, and when we freak out, when we stop believing the magic of life may send us a tribe. So this thing, you would say, oh, it's just a drawing, oh, it's just a symbol, it's a mistake, but actually they're very annoying. Like those high-level people who believe in those symbols and stuff, oh my god, you will make a slight mistakes on the way you arrange your framing, or the side of your lamp. You see, like, what is gonna appear from your magical lamp? Is this the marriage? Is this your career? Is this the royals? Guys, but sometimes it's too much. Remember that not to pay so much attention to all the details. Perfection is the enemy of done. Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi always said that perfection is the enemy of done. So yes, in a perfect world, everything is put in this place and blah, 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 but we always make mistakes. It's never really perfect, but you use those as intentionally as possible. But remember not to be too much about it either. And sometimes, actually, the more people are trying to do magic, the more you're like trying to make it all perfect, or focusing so much, or, so rigid. Like, rigidity is the opposite of the flowing of the magic. If you're so rigid, you're going to block your frequency, your energy. So when you're more fluid and more relaxed and just confident that you're sending out a prayer, this is why all the rituals, look at all the beautiful prayers and ritual that they are doing all the time for Memorial Day or to honor the fallen. Sometimes they make a mistake and they make a ritual after. They may not tell you this is for that, but they take advantage of that ritual ceremony to honor the fallen in this operation, mostly the military, all this ceremony, rituals, things. This is a very big part of their culture, because they understand, the passage of the souls to the other world, and the memory of the names, and also how do you treat others? Because if you don't respect life itself and you think you're just coming in and killing people, life is not going to reward you. If you say you're the hand of God, doing God work here on earth, and unfortunately sometimes you have to use violence and you have to kill people, they are killing people, they say it. America was built on blood. It's true, but you have to do it with the respect for life and honor the sacrifice. So sacrifice is still a big part of those rituals as well. The Mayas, those Chichen Itza and all these big pyramids and things, you know what they were used for, right? Chichen Itza, it was a ritual temple where they would go on top of it and chop up virgins and have their blood down, the blood like fall off all over the stairs of those things. And these were rituals and offerings for the elements, for the Pachamama, for the sun, for the rain to come, for all these things to happen, and the day, sometimes you're really sad and it's raining, God is crying with you. Their Memorial Day was raining. There's no coincidence. This is the magic of the universe, of the Pachamama. Pachamama means Mother Earth. The environment is alive. It responds to us. And the more connected you are, and the more you're just sinking with it. Matthias De Stefano, when I was in Egypt, he says, every time I have an event on the first day, it rains, like the blessings, So very powerful, very, very powerful, very interesting. And I talk also in the book at some point, not exactly where, but about black magic. Black magic, so supposedly like the negative magic, when you're doing magic to hurt people. Actually, it's a lot easier to hurt people with magic than to do good, to manifest your things. We say that building takes centuries and destroying takes 1 second. It's true. Why? Because black magic works on adrenaline. It's chemistry. Okay? When you get, I've done crazy stuff when I got mad, but not even wanting it, but just like when you're angry, you get really mad, you're on adrenaline, there is a chemical process, okay? There is a chemical process in your body happening, and the chemistry, the chemical transformation, okay, is what produces the magic, the energy, okay? So this strong, when you enter a room and two people just argued, you've ever entered a room and two people just argued and they don't even talk, but you're right away, you come in and you're like, ooh, you can feel the energy. What happened? So because they're emanating this adrenaline, these pheromones, these, chemical substance, okay, emanating from their body. So when you're really angry, like I've literally, provoked earthquakes, getting angry, or like, I'm not going to tell you all the things because otherwise then they're going to burn me, but like people who would like not want to pay me for an artwork or things like this, and I was really struggling and needed the money, and I would get really mad, and like the next minute they're calling me like, oh my god, my grandmother had an accident, like, I can't go on my trip or where I was supposed to go to. I was like, cool, so now you can stay and pay me. So things like this. So yes, so it's very important. Or one day I was in Peru and that everything was crazy. I was in a haunted apartment, and the roommates, the guys, the owners of the apartment, they hadn't paid the electricity bill, and when they came, the electricians and stuff, when they came, they were there. I was like, hey, can you put the power back? They were like, oh, well, if you give me some money, we can do that for you and stuff. And at the time I was like, what, corruption? Oh my god. I just got there, I'm alone, they're here trying to get money from me, you know, like off the thing. And what happened, I remember that was a crazy time, like all this kind of stuff. I was waking up at night and there were like vortex opening over my face. There was a demon talking to me like in the night to scare me. That was a crazy apartment. I moved out of here really quickly. But anyways, I was just very scared and very, on my nerves. And I remember I was over my trash can, cleaning some stuff, and my lighter like blew up in my hands, and I had literally a ball of fire in my hands. After that, I blew up a TV. Like I would come in the room and the TV blows up, or I come in a room and my roommate is on her computer, the computer shuts down, and like all these magnetic frequencies. That was all after Machu Picchu. So it's all magnetism. Okay. So one day I was sick of it, all these crazy things happening, and I was like, well, maybe so I have this power now. Okay, but I can't control it because I'm doing random shit. So if I learn to channel it, control it, to direct it towards things that I actually want, then I'm gonna be a superwoman. And the first time that I managed to do that was then in Peru. I was in front of this crazy apartment and I was like this at the balcony, and there was a red bird. I kept seeing these red, how do you call them? The cardinals. The red cardinal. I would see that bird all the time. And he was on the other side of the street on one of the cables, the lines, the electric lines in the street. And I'm like, so if I have superpowers, I can talk to this bird and make him come like Mary Poppins just right in front of me. And I was just like here. Okay, Marco Rubio, that's for you. Come pick me up. And there, the bird literally flies from the other side of the street to right in front of me. And the bird is like right there, and I'm like, oh my god, I did it. That's it. I can talk to the animals. Now I can talk to the elements. I can talk to God. Like if I can do this one little thing, it means I can do it multiplied like 1,000, you know? It's just a matter of practice. So this is when this started. But the difficult thing is to channel your negative emotions and not blowing up the world. You know what I mean? It's like having a nuclear weapon. You're not gonna go blow up your nuclear weapon every time you have a disappointment. So you have to channel your emotions. So that's the difficult things, okay? Because these will go, it's like the bad eye, you know, without you even knowing. You're jealous of someone or whatever, you throw bad luck at them. It's just bad energy. Sometimes you're doing it even unconsciously. So very, very difficult. That's why sometimes I'm too nice, because I'm just trying to control and be a good person and not get too angry unless you really piss me off, and then you'll see a different side of me. But the whole work now is to find this same chemical transformation, chemical process, substance coming out of you in a positive way with good emotions. And of course, it's not as strong, because when you're in the bliss, you're more like passive, receiving it. You're like passive, receiving this bliss. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. Like, oh, I want to take it in. So how do I give it back? out to the world. This is why I'm always cheering on people. Every time people inspire me, right away I'm like writing and singing things for them and things, because I want this bliss that I feel to resend it out. So it's like a circular energy between everyone, so everybody profits, and like a snowball effect, then it grows. The more we take it on and you feel others, the shared bliss is actually amplifying. In my first book, I show a picture of the Celestine prophecy, where you have two people and they're one sending energy to the other. And in fact, it's not just one and one and one. The more they're doing this, the more the energy of the two grows to the world. And this is what we're doing in this network. You know, we get inspired by someone, we send it back out, the others see it, they send it back out, the others see it, and then it just grows. And this is how the network becomes so powerful. So that's why we have to stay together. And I really hope that the Nobel Prize ceremony this year will be the fulfillment of the legend of the crystal skulls, because, you know, there is this legend about the certain crystal skulls that they say that they were all so powerful that they could destroy the world or heal the world. If sometimes, I'm giving you another example, when I was a teacher in Florida, I was with like it was kind of like a developing community, a little bit ghetto. Some kids were really studious, some kids were just like crazy, very agitated, difficult to channel and stuff. But my energy was always really, really high. And for some of those kids, like the energy was too between what they were used to at home, where it was like chaos, and my energy. Sometimes the energy was just too big of a gap, and I would enter the room and the kids would automatically become crazy, agitated. Like they couldn't control themselves. They couldn't handle the energy. And like even one day there was a kid, I just walked towards him to talk to him and he falls back. Like, did I even touch him? And this day I understood why they were agitated. I was like, it's because they can't handle like the energy, you know? So the 13 crystal skulls, before the world could handle putting all these pieces together, there was a lot of preparation that has been done by the network, by Forbidden Knowledge, by the masterminds, by the Newsmax network, by, of course, the US government with all their prayers. They're bringing the religion a lot into the politics, but they're not hiding either the other sources of inspiration. So subconsciously and more obviously, the minds are getting prepared to receive this reunion, this reunification and fulfillment, hopefully, of this prophecy of the crystal skulls, you know, coming back together to heal the world, and having this giant ray of light and powerful, like, loving energy, basically trying to heal people. So I really hope that this will be inspiring, mostly for the Middle East, which is really where all the wars are happening right now. Central Europe, the Middle East, all this region of the world, it's all the same region, right? This whole zone right there, where, you know, they don't like Europe and America that much, mostly America, because this is where all the wealth is. So when you see people that are so wealthy and so powerful, and you're here struggling, poor, being bombed, being hated for your religion, all this stuff, of course, they are envious, they feel like injustice. So, you know, the United States going there to help the Iranian regime, I think Iran is happy about what the United States is doing, except the terrorists. So I hope that we will all bring a different speech and message to show that really what we're trying to do for the world. So yes, so trying to channel these energies positively, and to so how do you get to these blissful states? Then you have to find people That's, you know, like we talk about energy vampires, the people who feed off other people's energy. That's true. Like we feed off people's energy, but the vampires are those who feed off it and they don't give anything back. That's why my entire first book is about reciprocity. Yes, we feed off people's energy, but then you give back, you feed them as well. And it's no longer vampirism, but it's a mutual intelligence. Okay, these are even science terms. You have mutual relationships. We have, I don't even remember. I would have to go back to my science book. But it's basically, yeah, you have vampirism, mutualism, and the other one, which is when you add. Okay. Let's go. Okay, so remember that what used to be magic is now science. So this is this man right here is, sorry, I cannot pronounce his name, but he is the Nobel Prize, I guess, chair of economic science. So they have a whole foundation to award people who help develop the economy, social political project, social economical project, all this stuff. And these people, the whole Nobel Prize committee, they are a lot into these esoteric things. They're all magicians. They love the symbols. I will tell you later a little story about it. This is a beautiful prayer from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to our legend. So I'm gonna reread it. I'm probably not gonna read it better than him, but it should become a prayer that we all start to learn, like poetry is in school and reciting. So let's read it together. Dear gracious God, I need you. Now more than ever before, I need you. For I realize how great is my task and how meager are my resources. Give me wisdom, I pray. When demands press in on every side, give me accurate eyes that can separate the important from the urgent, the fundamental from the incidental. Give me wisdom, I pray. When I ache for my soldiers' friendship, give me courage to earn their respect and obedience. Give me wisdom, I pray. When time and task pull in different directions, grant me clarity to see the way, and peace to calm those around me. Give me wisdom, I pray. See peace to calm those around me. Yes, this is how not just the bliss, but also your peace. Have you noticed how sometimes some people are so grounded? They're so peaceful, just that presence next to you, and you feel calm, you feel peaceful, you feel like there's no problem, you know? This is also healing. This is a healing power, a lot. Like for me, Pete Hegseth, he reminds me a lot of my mentor, Dean Graziosi. They're like the people who watch over me, but they inspire me. They're not just protectors, but they also inspire. And for me to have these people in my network, it's very calming because I'm a very anxious person. Not so now I'm better. I healed a little bit, but after I had a lot of trauma, I was very anxious. And I needed reassurance that were people seeing me, people here, you know, that we're going to do projects together or working in the same direction, that we were part of something bigger than ourselves, like a team, that something is going to last for a long time. I remember my mentor, he used to always say, this is just a one-time offer. Did you know, and then it's over. And I wrote to him one day, I was like, you're pissing me off. Just stop saying it's a one-time chance, you know? I was like, you have to start saying, this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of a long-term relationship. And I remember after I sent him that, he started changing. Instead of bringing anxiety and the fear of missing out to people, he started bringing reassurance. And his first On Your Future challenge was called On Your Future. And remember, Trent Shelton came in and he said, just like me, when I was in Machu Picchu, and for him it was when something happened to him as well, all of a sudden he heard this voice that said, this is just the beginning. Like, going to Machu Picchu was my dream. And when I got to Machu Picchu, I was in a state of bliss. I was so proud of myself. I did it. I went to Peru by myself. I was 25 years old. And then I started feeling anxiety. It's like, now that I fulfilled my dream, what is going to be my dream? You know, my to-do list is checked. What is going to be my dream now? And this is when I heard that voice that said, this is just the beginning. And this Machu Picchu, this is when I received all this magnetic energy, when PachaMama gave me the mission to bring all this knowledge to the United States. That was very, very into technology and, you know, a lot involved into all the wars and everything. And like 2-3 weeks later, I met my husband. So, who was American. I mean, who is my ex-husband, who is American. So, that was the beginning of my mission of me bringing this to the United States. So, for me to know that this is gonna last for a long time, that we're building a family, you know, that Rubio is gonna be elected the president of the United States, that the team is still gonna be there. This is coming. This is my piece for me. So, because you find great people that you trust, you want them to be in power because you know they're gonna take care of us. You know, and America, and not just me, but America and the world are gonna protect the world. So we want to have them there for a while. We don't want it to be like, 2 years and ciao, now we have to do all again with strangers that we don't know where they come from. You know, so give me the peace to calm those around me and give me wisdom, I pray. When decisions are demanded, may my walk match my talk. Remind me daily that the speed of a leader is the speed of the team. Give me wisdom, I pray. So Marco Rubio, speed up, okay? And you all come pick me up. When my authority is tested, show me when to raise my voice and when to lower it. When to use the carrot and when to use the stick. Give me wisdom, I pray. When my time is done, may I be remembered as a leader who encouraged, not discouraged, as a man who leads people up, not tore them down. Give me wisdom, I pray. When in victory, keep me humble. When in defeat, keep me from despair. Compensate my weaknesses, accentuate my strength. Mold me into the man you want me to be. Give me wisdom, I pray. And most of all, please keep my soldiers safe. Lead them, guide them, protect them, watch over them. And as you gave all of yourself for me, help me to give all of myself for them. And it is in your name we pray. Amen. Wow. You see? And as you gave all of yourself for me, help me to give all of myself for them. This is reciprocity. You see, you're not an energy vampire just taking from generosity of some people. You're giving back. And we all grow from it. Okay? The only resource that don't expire as you give it is love. All right, so these are my tattoos. There is a little reference here to the story of Osiris, you know, who was cut into 13 pieces, and one of his parts that was not found. And so for me, in my tattoo, I made that it's the feather of Anubis. You know, it doesn't have the tail here, but I still have it nearby, which is the feather of the final judgment of Anubis. So every day when I look at the feather, I remember that God is watching and to try to be a good person. But remember, make no harm, but take no shit. That's it, guys. That is Sekhmet. Sekhmet, guys. That is the Egyptian goddess of war and strategies. So if she's the goddess of war, of course she's the goddess of peace, because usually we go to war for peace. So this is Secretary Hexet with all his army crew. This is Kim and I, my little twin, the twin ladies. Yes, I love the dress. Look at that dress. I love it. Yeah, beautiful. Yes, so Sekhmet is the Egyptian goddess of war and strategy, like the lioness queen of the jungle. She's wise and fierce because she has to, but also because she wants to. She restores, I see a little typo here. She restores order among chaos or brings justice to terror. So the big question is war peace? This was the theme of the Nobel Peace Center exhibition this year. Is war peace? That was a big controversy, but sometimes you don't have a choice with people who don't want to understand, keep being violent. Like Rubio said, I love when he said that the other day. He said, you know, I think he was talking about Iran. President Trump would rather have the State Department solve the problem, but if we have to ask the War Department solve the problem, we're going to do that too, you know? And that was very accurate. You know, of course, we don't want to go to war. Hopefully, the military would become a humanitarian organization, and humanitarian and environmental organization. I say this since the beginning. The military should become an environmental and humanitarian and technological organization. But if we don't have a choice, and there are people who keep making a mess all around the planet and being aggressive, we're going to take them down. That's Rubio's very, very natural simplicity when saying, you know, we're going to take them down. That's it. So yes. So that's Adele's song, Hello from the Other Side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. But when I called, you never seemed to be home. That's, you know, how many times I called for people to come and work with me and help me when I was trying to get my house, but nobody helped me. And I'm pretty sure they feel like shit. And they should. Really, they should, but also they gave me legacy, you know, and this is something that took a long time to build, to gain the trust of everyone. And I guess that pity, you know, that's what I didn't like, because they thought that if people have pity for me, they will like me. And I hated that, because I was like, I don't need people's pity. I want people to follow me and support me because I have skills and I'm a good person and I'm funny and I'm also smart sometimes. I'm passionate mostly, more than anything, I think, in the government, in those high-level positions. Yes, you have to be intelligent and you have to have skills, of course, but mostly they're looking for heart. They're looking for loyalty. They're looking for people who are passionate about the work, because you might not know everything or be the most expert, or maybe you are, but if you're passionate, you're going to spend the time learning and studying and trying to make it right, rather than people who think they already know it all and they're going to do like we've always done and maybe just, sit on their desk a little more. While if you're really passionate and you have some gaps, well, you're going to work twice as hard to fill those gaps and learn the names of the network and learn, the department, the departments, the name, the tasks, the administrative stuff on the side, and we're gonna have people together. So I'm talking about me being hired as the director of national intelligence, but also for the people that I want to bring in. I want to bring in Billy Carson. I think Billy Carson is going down the hill right now, even though he was on the rise. He's launched his business really well. He was so inspiring. And I guess he's just tired of doing the same stuff all the time. Like I say all the time. If you don't give people opportunities to grow, if you're not growing, you're sliding. And Billy Carson, that's someone I don't want to see sliding because he's such a badass, charismatic, intelligent, skilled man that knows about technology, he knows about way more than me, like a lot more about ancient civilizations. He has a huge network in all this field. He speaks very well. He's done plenty of conferences, and I always say he should do politics. So if I'm going to work as the director of national intelligence, I'm going to hire him as my assistant right away. And we're going to work together, and then I will hire other people. I'm campaigning for Marco Rubio. I've already assigned him to being the next president. I want Carl Higby to be his vice president. All these people, journalists, they preach for politicians every day of their lives. So at some point, you want the reciprocity also and show everything that they've learned. The journalists are the ones who dig information all the time, and they decide whether they're gonna spread it out or whether they're gonna keep the secrets for national security or for whatever, keep it for the right time or to protect people, or just sometimes they're just obligated because the CIA say that, but shut your mouth. So yes, journalists, teachers, people who serve in their own ways. We want the reciprocity. It's time to grow. Yes. So this is a tribute, of course, to Kim Kardashian. She has done this, you see, for years, 3 years now. Referring, connecting our works together and bringing the fashion, embellishing everything that I do. She will bring it back to the spotlight in her own beautiful ways. She's my muse. She never gave up on me, except just this little one big time that we had an argument. And we don't even talk, but we talk our own language. But that's, families argue and get back together, but we're definitely families. So thank you for everything. And I understand, we all need someone to count on and to trust and love. So are you ready for some fairy tales? And I'm snitching names. So here is everything I told you about the White House, United Nations. They're all into this network. This is the story of how I got noticed by the Nobel Prize Committee. I already told you that in my previous conference. So I'm not going to repeat it. Or just quickly, when I started campaigning for the Secretary General of the United Nations, I did a whole bunch of strategies to get them to read, his nomination and to promote his nomination. And then they saw that it came from me and they were like, why is she doing that? And then they realized I was looking for a job at the UN, and then the whole political network behind it. And this is how they got interested. And I think that this year, the Nobel Prize is going to be very interesting because everybody campaigned for it. You know, they really kept it to secrecy. And, you know, you couldn't know anything for 50 years, or it was very, very secret process. Like, they wouldn't tell us anything. It was always a surprise. But this year, everybody participated. Everybody campaigned. Everybody answered, talked, you know, how do you say, talk and talk back. Whether who should be a Nobel Prize laureate, and, you know, why this person, why not this person, and mostly how we demonstrated how they're working together to advance the goals. Like with Narges Mohammadi, that the Nobel Prize Committee said, you know, she's in prison, you know, we need help. And they went to Iran and they weakened the government. Now they managed to have her out of her prison. Now she's at the hospital. We do hope that she obtains her liberation, unconditional liberation. Paris came in. Of course, we can't just rely all the time on the United States. So I appreciate that Paris came and they did a recognition of, how do you call it? They awarded her the title of extraordinary citizen or something like this. That's gonna wait in the negotiations so she can be released from Iran and come to France. We've seen that also with what happened in Venezuela when Mr. Fridnes, he called out onto Maduro, telling him to step down and follow the will of the Venezuelan people. And then the United States government, they came in and they kidnapped him and put him in jail. So this was the true partnership between the whole network. So this year, the Nobel Peace Prize campaign and the Nobel Prize campaign is very exciting. Everybody's super exciting about it. And I hope that we demonstrated how we want to work together and make this a long-term relationship and literally becoming a family so we can all change the world with our good heart. And we didn't study and worked our butts off all around the world just to stay all in our corners. All right, we want to move to Washington. We want to have high-level positions because we all bring in our network. The Nobel Prize Committee, they have a huge network of leaders, you know, people from all faith and all horizons, high level, or people like Malala who were, you know, just citizens trying to defend their right to go to school. She was a student, like people who must have felt so powerless when you had extremist terrorists came with weapons and start shooting at people and making their laws in a country. But she decided to stand up and stay strong in front of it. She organized associations. This is the power how a small person can change her own country and then become a 1 in a million leader in the world, an example that her entire community is going to follow, and the entire world looks at her when she goes to the General Assembly of the United Nations. So yes, they spend days and nights all year long profiling people, hearing testimonials from their supporters, from their communities, because rewarding efforts and courage and love and loyalty and peace and taking action is very important. Otherwise, if you always lose when you're trying to do good deeds, then why helping? People are going to stop. So this is very important. So yes, so this is when Kim and I, we saw this hot man, Mr. Jorgen Watne Fridnes, the president of the Nobel Peace committee. Look how handsome he is. So of course, we were trying to catch his attention, but they were trying to catch our attention first, actually, because you know me, I'm a very professional and I'm all about career. So my whole goal was to get Mr. Guterres his Nobel Peace Prize, so then they could hire me, because they were blackmailing me too, that I would get a job if they would get that and stuff, the whole blackmail thing. But finally, they noticed, and I thought I was just like a ghost that nobody, sees or talk about. And then the network became stronger, and they gave me the inspiration to keep doing this. So anyways, talking about magic here. After we started connecting, like I started having signs, like I was talking to you about Metatrons, but it's the same. They are magicians. Like, I'm so excited if I win this Nobel Prize, not just for the prize, but just to meet those magicians. They have the secret knowledge of magic. They can do crazy things. I was in my house. They would ring the bell and there would be nobody at the door. Like, they would literally ring the bell. Or I would put my dog in the bathroom, because sometimes my dog was crazy and I needed a break from him. So I would put him in one of my bathrooms that is pretty big, and I didn't mind him going crazy in the bathroom. I would put my dog in the bathroom for a little while. Next thing you know, the dog is in another room. I'm looking for my dog everywhere, and he is in another room, locked. And I was like, I didn't put him there. That was crazy. So teleporting my dog, or I would go to my garage and the lights are on and I haven't been to the garage. And it's the back of the garage light, which I never turn on. You could say, oh, she just forgot her light yesterday. No, that was the light at the back of the garage, that you have to go at the back of the garage to turn on that switch. And this light is on. And I'm like, what is going on? Someone is trying to get my attention. So one day I'm taking a nap, and this is Mystic Ian. He changed his name now to Mystic Archives, but he was posting this at the same time. So that's why at first I thought that he was him. I was like, that's a secret page that he had, but apparently not. I don't know. I think it's probably a FBI page. I don't know. But the government, most likely, they know about all this stuff. This is all classified information. And also, sometimes people, they like to be the only ones to know. So they hold on to the power, that's true. But let me tell you, I will tell you everything. So I take a nap one day coming back from my school, and I dream of colors. And I dream of a painting of like a lady and a dragon, and it's orange. And so I go on Google and I'm like, painting, I tap painting with woman in sheets and a dragon, orange. Like, I tap just the things I remember from my dream. And I see that's an actual painting. And just, I'm going to my Instagram to post that. I'm like, I don't know, maybe if I dreamt of it, I need to post it. And I see that page, Visit Oslo, who posts this at the same time. And I like, you see the symmetry? Like the colors, the symmetry of, where is it? The girl and the tree, the bicycle and the dragon. The big tree here behind it. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. So we're doing telepathy. So telepathy means you're connected. You're aligning with a new tribe of people that are behaving on the same frequency. So your soul family. We're not all on the same frequency. This is why there's some people, you will never get along with them. You can't know why. They're really nice, whatever. You just don't connect because you're functioning on different frequencies. And there's some people, you just know them 2 minutes and right away we're family. That's like my friend Lydie that you've seen in some of my pictures here. I've met her in 2009, and we were at a party. There were a bunch of people, but as soon as we met, right away we were like best friends, and we've been best friends since then. So because we're soul families and we work on the same frequency, so if you're on the same frequency, you're gonna connect. You imagine, I'm gonna turn it right now, just for a quick. Imagine you're in a library, right? So you're in a library and you like fantastic novels, right? So you're gonna hang out in the fantastic novels alley, and these other nerds guys who like Harry Potter or whatever, they're gonna be in the Harry Potter, like not far from you, right? In the fantastic novels, Harry Potter, they're gonna be there. And then you have all the science nerds that just like chemistry or whatever. They're on the back of the library here doing that homework, whatever. And then you have the people who like murders and thrillers and stuff. They're on this other side of the library. And then you have the whatever. You get my point. Religion. So we all hanging out kind of like on the same side of the library. And sometimes you have different kind of books, right? Because then you realize that, what was in this esoteric book, man, the science, they're saying the same thing. So maybe the magic is real. But you see what I mean? So once we're all on the same side of the library, we're getting the same books, the same information. We have access to the same books, right? So the Akashic records, they're the same way. You're aligning on a certain frequency, and we're all receiving certain informations that are the same ideas. This way, some people, they have the same ideas at the same time. They create things at the same moment. For example, the Pentagon right now, they're doing the disclosure of all the aliens files. And I'm doing the disclosure of all the network communication strategies and secrets and stuff. So we had the same idea that disclosing a lot of our secret is not only going to make people more intelligent, but it's also going to restore public trust, which is one of the goals of the US government right now, to restore public trust in institutions like the FBI. Like, people hate cops just because they're cops. Of course, if you've been the victim of an injustice and you've been harassed when you were innocent, actually calling the cops to help you, you're going to hate the cops. But if you also had cops protect you and saved your life and recognize that, man, those people wake up every day to protect us, then you're gonna start liking the cops, and mostly if they're telling you the truth. So that's the Akashic records, guys. That's why we have a lot of telepathy and a lot of the same informations, and sometimes even without reading it anywhere, just because you receive that. Okay, so neither one of us received the Nobel Prize that year, and our job, and we both lost it all. They lost their fundings from the United States government and the Nobel Prize. I lost my house and my kid and my dog and a cat, like literally everything except my 2 cats. But the world saw what happened, and luckily we have like real family that just sees, because I love my family, but they don't understand my life. They just don't get it. So they don't understand why I'm doing all these things. If I'm telling them, for them, the middle class is so far. That's the French people conception, that the middle class is so far from the government, from having any power of decision. They've all stayed in their jobs, in their lanes, seeing that they have no power. They complain about things, but it doesn't change. That I could tell them, the Air Force One. I told my mom the other day, I was like, I think there's a chance that Air Force One is going to come and pick me up, and I'm moving to Washington to work with the United government. Every time I say that, she laughs like I'm telling her a joke. And because they don't even, for them, it's not even possible in a reality. This is a very American culture saying that anything is possible. The American dream, if you work hard and you're a go-getter and you persist until you succeed, it's gonna happen. So yeah, we need a little bit of both. We need to stay realistic, but we also, if your dreams don't scare you, it means you're not dreaming big enough, like the Nobel Prize laureates say. Yeah, you outgrow people not by force, but by frequency. The more self-aware you become, the fewer rooms feel aligned. See, well, that's exactly what we were talking about. The dragons, oh my God, the dragons is such a real thing. So I want to talk about the elementals. So PachaMamArt. When I was in Peru, I started seeing shapes and faces and animals in everything. In the mountains, I would see a giant face of a king looking at me. Or in the clouds, I would see dragons or unicorns. Mostly when I was in Florida, I would see unicorns and dragons in the skies all the time. I'm going to tell you another story. Or in even the paper of the wall. You see those papers of the wall? I would see faces. Like I would be there and I would see faces looking at me all the time, and they're alive and they're like looking at me. And this is when I realized that elementals live. They are real. They just live in a different dimension that is just a little different tune than us. So when you're listening to a radio station, I can tell you in the mountain I have a lot of this. You're listening to a radio station, so you're listening to the music really well, and all of a sudden you move to a different department, region, whatever, and the radio frequencies start going out of tune. It starts going like, and you can hear another music at the same time, right? So you can hear those two musics. So you're in between those two radio stations frequencies. It's the same with our dimension. We are in our dimension. The elementals like the fairies, dragons, I've seen centaurs, little gnomes, elves, all these mystical characters that you see in movies. Where do you think they come from? We don't invent anything. We see things. You can't even, if I'm telling you, hey, have you ever heard of a rubella? You have no idea what the hell that is. This is a word I just made up. Okay? You can't imagine something that doesn't exist. So every time we have an idea or we invent something, it's something that already exists, even if it's in another timeline or from the Akashic records. It's something that exists, and we're finally getting that information. Just like the pyramids of Egypt, they're finding new doors that were already there, always there. But because the frequency is changing, now they see it. So we both live in different, the dragons, the fairies, all these, they exist in a different dimension. And we exist in this dimension just so we don't hurt each other. But sometimes the radio station gets in between and we get a glimpse of the other world, just like in the movie The Others. Crazy. Oh my God, this movie, crazy. If you've seen it with Nicole Kidman, I didn't really like this movie, by the way. It's not a really good movie, but the ideas of, she thinks that's her world, that they're the ghost. But if you haven't seen the movie, I'm about to ruin it for you. So she thinks that she's the ghost, they are the ghosts, but in the end of the movie it switches and she realizes they're the ghosts, just like the Sixth Sense. So that's about it. Maybe the dragons and stuff, they're like, oh yeah, these humans are on the other side, and probably they see us too. But that's why sometimes they appear through the elements. This is why we call them the elementals. Okay? So you have a dragon passing, you think it's a cloud. In our vision, it's a cloud but in fact, it's a dragon or it's a unicorn. And I'm gonna tell you a story. When I came back to France in February, I was very bad. I was very bad. It was the shame of my life. I came back like I came, worse than I came, with nothing, not even with my kid, broke, even in debt. I didn't even leave France in debt. Like, I came back to France in debt. Like, it was the worst humiliation for me to come back here with nothing, no job, nothing. But anyways, thank you very much. Appreciate. But I got you guys. Like I said, I understand it takes a long time to build, and it will take time. And when it finally comes, all my efforts, people will be asking, how did you do it? I'll be like, I've been patient, guys. I've been resilient. I kept seeing the best in the people, even though sometimes they did the worst things to me. But because I wanted to be a part of, and I wanted to maybe do better than they did, you know, for their legacy. I will honor their legacy, but tweak a few things that I think could have been done better and do better for others. So anyways, just to let you know, I go out with my friend and my intention is to get fucked up, completely wasted, you know, just to forget everything that happened. So that's what we did. We went out, we're going to the restaurant with all my friends, drink a lot. Everybody goes home, and my best friend and I, and our friend Nico was there too. We start walking in the Old Nice, and all of a sudden we hear, and we're like, okay, techno party, where is it? And there's two guys in the street. They're like, oh, it's downstairs, this bar. There is like a underground rave party and things. Blah, blah. So we go in. We start drinking. I'm like, oh my God, you remember when we were 17? We would take ecstasy all the time. I'm like, I'm going to find some. Literally, I go after 5 seconds. I come back. I found some. So we start getting drugs and we get so crazy. Next thing you know, I find a guy. We're like all over the place doing crazy shit. And anyways, that was one of a kind. We go back to the hotel. So my friend's friend had reserved like the best hotel in Nice because he wanted to impress her, and like the best hotel, 9th floor, with the best view on the Bay of Angels. Like, that was, I had never even been there, and it's my city. But he was just there for 2 nights and he wanted to make it cool, so he booked a room for all of us. I mean, for them and for me, to all have our room there. So Alice and I, we go home and we wake up in the morning. Horrible. But I had nightmares all night, like bad nightmares. Like, I had people trying to kill me. I would see like faces with blood. That was crazy. And I wake up and my friend, she's like, oh my God, there is a dragon. And she looks at the window and there's like this big dragon, like just in front of our window, like a big cloud. And I'm like, oh my God, I had this bad nightmare. I was like, she's like, yeah, it's the dragon. He's mean. He's mad at us. And I was like, oh, you're right. That's the dragon. He's mad because we were crazy last night. So that's how we intercept those elementals. Sometimes they're over there watching you, and sometimes the dragon is mean and he's gonna send you a bad dream, a message, something that he's talking to you. Sometimes you're gonna hear the voice, sometimes it's the wind. If you want to see a real life demonstration of a dragon, go to my YouTube channel or to my website on the We Are One library. We Are One library. my interview with Patricia Daly-Lipe. She was a Florida author, and her cover of her book had a dragon and a princess, right? And her book is called Arts, Magic, and Metaphors. And I go to her ranch. She has horses and everything to interview her because I was working in an art gallery and she had her book and I met her and we connected. And her journey was nothing spiritual. And I was like, how did that woman that worked for the Navy and like she looked very ground to earth and stuff, and she was writing a book about arts, magic, and metaphor. Then she tells me that she met Joseph Campbell, which like one of my favorite writers, anthropologist. So I'm like, I need to go and interview her. So I go to her ranch, and on the way there, there's dragons all over the skies, like 5 to 10 dragons, like lines like this, but you can literally see the face, the body, and they're huge, like the whole sky, like 6 giant dragon like this, heading to her house, right over me, on the highway driving, heading the same direction. Crazy. So I go there, I interview her, and the whole interview, you can hear the wind. They're like, woo, 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 woo. The whole interview, you can hear the dragons. And it's funny because for her, dragons were negative. So in the interview, we had a little thing when she was like, oh, the dragon symbolizes evil. And for me, it's not. For me, dragons symbolize protections. There are maybe evil dragons, but they symbolize strength and protection and magic and power also, you know. The mother of dragons, she's so powerful because she's a human that is so weak, able to train the most powerful and lethal creatures in the world, you know. So I knew that the dragons were there, so this could be said in the interview when she says, oh, the dragon that represent, I was like, talk to me about the cover of your book. Why is there like a princess here and the dragon? She's like, oh, you see the dragon here represents evil, here lurking from the darkness. And she's here. And I was like, oh, maybe the balance, you know, the balance of the two worlds. Not necessarily evil. She's like, yes, the balance. But she's not really convinced. But I knew that they were offended that she had pictured the dragon like the evil lurking from the other dimension, when in fact maybe the dragon was protecting or watching over that world. I don't know, maybe trying to kidnap her and keep her hostage in a castle with a treasure until the Prince Charming comes and save her. But anyways, that was a very interesting, because it's like they know what's going on in our lives, they interfere and they bring messages just so we can maybe develop some of our supernatural abilities to become a little smarter and more connected to the world around us, so we don't destroy it. And one of the reasons that I heard, or in a conference by Lulumineuse, I think, that she was saying that they are not in our dimension but hiding in other dimensions, is so we don't destroy them. Because look at what they are doing. Every time they see an alien or a UFO, something they don't understand, they go and shoot him. Like if we don't know you're a threat. They go and shoot them. So in order for them to be protected from human stupidity, they had to hide in another dimension. But the problem now is that we're destroying their own environment because of the technology, the wars, the drones, global warming, all this stuff. You know, the animals, the elementals, and even humans ourselves, we are all threatened by our own blueprint on the planet. So they find ways to warn us through dreams, messages, warnings, that we have to combine environment and technology. And this is back to the prophecy of Pachacuti, that if you have been following me, you already know, because I talk about it all the time. Yep. So the heart, of course, is the locked hearts. These are emails that I received from Tony Robbins, because, we always think of extraordinary things to be magical, but in fact, sometimes the magic is also having people who watch over you and who don't give up on you. And they have sent me Tony Robbins and Sage Robbins and Dean Graziosi. They have sent me 1 million messages in their lifetime, emails, text messages, videos, just so people don't give up, harassment, email harassment, don't give up. They're showing you success stories, transformation, organizing event for global youth, leadership summit. They understand that you have to take the new generations at the root. So we have more intelligent adults. So very, very important works. That's why I'm campaigning for them to get the Nobel Prize of Economic Science. Tony Robbins is super altruistic, generous. He's given 1 billion meals to Feeding America. And most of his time, he's just a mentor, just guiding people in their lives so they could fulfill their best potential. Through stories, through strategies, through events, connecting, and humor sometimes. This website has been seized, so this is when, we got to work with the FBI. This is also some cool evidencing. One day I posted that from Mystic Archives. He posted that. And the FBI posted this, like, okay, this is the female, this is like the male side or whatever. But you see you're not blind, right? The rite of passage. This is Elon Musk, who has done so much to support my perspective and my work. Even during the elections, the presidential elections, I was strong campaigning for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. He was strong on campaigning for Donald Trump. I was like, I need to make him change his mind. He cannot be campaigning for Donald Trump, like these racist people who are going to attack all the immigrants. This is unacceptable. Oh my God. If the most powerful, richest man on the planet starts campaigning and promoting Donald Trump, this is fucking over. So we went like crazy on X. He was promoting, the criminality. I mean, not promoting, but he was evidencing the criminality among immigrants communities. And I was trying to show my little videos of my cute little kids that is just here to fulfill their best life in America. And they never tried to take me down. All the opposite. They were like, we want your voice. We want to know if we're right. We want to know, so it didn't change them from doing the dirty job that they had to do to solve criminality. But then in the long run, then they did take my perspective to improve the policy. And now they're extending visas for immigrants. It took a little while, but they had to do the dirty job first. But this is thanks to Elon, who has always supported, even though we did not agree on a lot of things. For example, I am strong against AI. I'm terrified of AI. I think building drones and building AI is building our own downfall of humanity. I think that, going to Mars to find an escape to the Earth is great. We need it. But if you're going to pollute the planet and build the AI and drones that are destroy humanity, then we should focus more on not building those. So at the same time, huge supporter of space exploration. Of course, I want us to build cities on Mars, to have a step on the moon. Everything they're doing is so inspiring. So we all know that it's never all white or all black. We have to ally environment and technology. We have to have political debates where we make harsh decisions while not forgetting our humanity. And this is what we did really during the presidential campaign. And then that Elon Musk just literally hooked me up with the rest of the network, because he had all the exposure and I just had my little bit of followers. That is high quality network, not quantity, but high quality. But still, you want to have your work seen by a lot of people if it can change their minds and change their perception and change their electoral decisions. This is why they didn't promote me before, because they didn't want the Democrats to read my stuff, because I was going to be a strong opponent. Now that I switched back to their team, it would be a great strategy to have me at the government, so all the Democrats who are going to vote against just because they're Republicans, not even knowing why, but some people, they just vote against because it's him. I was reading Donald Trump's book, like a quote when he was saying, some people that will just oppose you because it's Donald Trump or because they're Republicans, instead of trying to contribute themselves. And I couldn't agree more with that. So now explaining the why some things had to be done, but why I also switched party will help the Democrats do the same and seeing the best in our leaders. I mean, how not to? I don't think they need me for that, but from someone who used to be a Democrat, I think that would help a lot of people just understand that they're understood, but this is the direction we're taking as well. We're compromising, which the Democrats don't do. Oh, this is so annoying. All the Democrats are doing, they're just opposing everything, trying to oppose everything, but not that much anymore. It feels like really everybody seems to be happy about the US government right now. So yes, and so this is the rite of passage with the Nobel Prize Committee, with the governments. You count. Yeah, everybody. The handshake is a very important symbol in politics. It's a power move. The handshake is a power move in politics. It means business. It means a deal is made. It means you're asking a favor. It means who is more powerful than the other. It means we're equal. It means we have good relationships. You count the FBI. Yes, I love this part right here. The people behind that are not in the spotlight all the time, the people behind the screen that is watching over and they get beat up. For us, I'm thinking notably of Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. I think she was bad, to be honest with you. She was bad. She was, but I understand why, because she was protecting people that were in the Epstein file. She was ordered to not say, to reveal everything. And when she was asked in court to testify, it was either she would talk against her own party or just be really bad. But I think she could have done better, just say, yeah, some things were done, but look at our president now, how good of a life he's been building with his wife, and for America, and he really cares, and he's a different man. And yeah, okay, it's not a big secret that politicians had sexual conducts in their youth or their all this kind of stories, because women like powerful people, so they go and they probably fuck around a little more. But that was at the time. They can't do that anymore because there's cameras everywhere now. So I think we have a lot of great role models at the government right now. People are not like this anymore, and they didn't want to attack Donald Trump because they're satisfied of the government that he's been building. So they kind of cover up what happened before. And maybe Donald Trump is not guilty. Maybe he's guilty by association. Like Melania said, they met in those parties, overlapping, like she said. Even though I believe, he probably did some bad things in the past. But I mean, you know what? Just pay them $1 million to shut their mouth. I'm pretty sure that's horrible what I'm gonna say, but come on now. Well, it's horrible. You need to have justice, of course, for sex predators. Pedophilia is horrible, and they should definitely prosecute the people in the Epstein file. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm not saying the opposite. I'm just saying that the United States president, and we have people with a lot of money, a lot of power at the government, and if the outcome is greater to have them than not having them, they're closing their eyes on some stuff and just pay people off to shut their mouth and just buy them a home and have a good life. Probably better than they would have if they would have gone through a justice system. So that's how it works. I'm not here defending sex predator. I'm just telling you how it works. It's all about money. But now, the Hibakusha activism. So this as well, I'm showing how we communicate through colors. The colors are very powerful portals, and always the same people and the same message to stop the nuclear weapons. Okay, so continue. So of course, I'm looking for a husband, not a secret. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking to rebuild my life, and that's what I've been working on for 10 years. This is also a super cool thing. Look at that. I'm here painting. I'm painting this. One day I'm painting this. And then I'm putting some Thor symbols and everything. And I look at this one, at this painting, it's a Thor. Look at the structure of the painting as well. Like the colors, how you have like the flashy color here with like the character here, flashy color. Then you have a big piece of darkness right here, kind of symmetrical. You have like a shape here on the floor, and the white, like kind of the light coming up from the top. I didn't know that painting. Okay, it's just one day I went crazy on the painting, and then I found that and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Once again, I'm channeling the Thor energy in my painting. Astrocartography, this is once again encoded frequency. Very grateful to have her beautiful artwork that is so energetic in my book. She has a lot of constellations, Polaris stars, explanation about the soul contracts, soul frequencies, maps, soul maps, all this stuff. I really like that. This is from the UNESCO. They're talking about glaciers. Glaciers, did you know that ice and water are really powerful storage of information? These are all references. You see, it's nice to know the references. That's why I wrote this book, because sometimes you see things, but when you have been in the network for a long time, you know where the reference is. you know, how much you think I love you and how much I actually love you. So the tip of the iceberg, we're definitely a network that really love each other. That's one thing. I love that page. It's like I was talking to you about the eye of protection earlier. So are you scared of mermaids? Yes, no, or yes, but still up for it? You know, we I think when you're really trusting your people, you can look straight in the eyes. You're not gonna be hurt. But sometimes it's like a flu, you know, someone gets mad and you get the flu. I mean, just because I love you doesn't mean you're not gonna get the flu. Okay, so sometimes protect yourself, wear some glasses. But that was just a funny one. But see, he didn't look, he didn't get sick. He probably looked and then he got his black eye. So yeah, that's just funny. Just nerd things. And look at those beautiful soul contract reading codes. Seed from the stars. Her gift. And she's making one for America as well. The bridge. This is the Brooklyn Bridge, I think. In New York City. I've been there just a couple of times. Yes, so the protection, the eye of protection. See, Tony Robbins ain't scared or anything. He's looking. He's got his own little protection eye here, the third eye. Why do you think he has the lucky hat, the lucky sign over his hat? It's the third eye. Tony Robbins is a huge master time traveler. Initiate, master of ancient Egypt. Like, we've known each other many lifetimes, him and Dean Graziosi. So they are guides for humanity. They help people go through the dark night of the soul. They help people unleash the power within. And of course, it's a luck because it's protecting him and bringing him luck at the same time. He's trying to see life through the eyes of positivity. You know, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And here are good old Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Also a huge light for humanity. We love him. He's smart, he's funny, he's intelligent, he's kind. He's kind with people, with kids, he cares. You know, it's so great to have people like that. And if you wonder why I have so many men in my book, it's because they're women at home taking care of the kids. And were not denied every job they applied for. That's why it's none but guys in this book and me harassing them every day so they get me a job. Because I don't have my kid to take care of anymore. And when I was in Florida, I would have loved my kid to watch me succeed instead of watching me be miserable on my computer, begging people to give me a job. But anyways, he will have his time seeing mommy succeed. But that's right, guys. It's not a lot of women. Women, they're at home taking care of the kids, denied jobs because look at the last 4 people who left the Trump government, all women. Because we're very emotional and there's a lot of pressure, but I know I'm going to be great because you can't break me. Literally, I'm really nice and I'm not very strong because, like, I don't work out a lot. I'm trying to work out more, but man, you cannot break me. Have they tried? So I'm ready to take on the critics. Doesn't mean that you're strong and you don't need a little love sometimes. We all have our time when we like to feel protected and supported, but thank God I have a lot of that in my network, so that's why I've become strong. And that's Kim, and you see that is our little game with Kim. We're always on the same plane. Rubio right now, coming back from India. You better be on your way to France. Come pick me up. I will give you a tour. You can spend a day. I give you a tour. I make you a nice spritz. And Tony Robbins and his 2 wives and his cute little baby. Yeah. Nobel Prize. So it's getting a little long, but here you see all the mystics and magic, all this chapter. This is everything we've been witnessing right now. Right now. The Rubio is in India. The Memorial Day, the watch 24/7. So this is what's happening right now, the mystics and magic. So hopefully they appear magically in front of my door. I'm not working tomorrow. I'll be home. Come pick me up. And General Dan Kane. What a legend. That we call from now on the magician. The hedgehog who can make a man disappear before his shadow acknowledges and proved it during Operation Absolute Resolve. He is the 22nd chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the nation's highest-ranking military officer and the principal military advisor to the President, Secretary of War, and National Security Council. Prior to becoming chairman on April 11th, he was 2025. He was the Associate Director for Military Affairs at Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. He knows all the cool stuff. He knows all the secrets. They have technology. They master technologies, guys, that we can barely imagine. And they're telling us a little bit of it. They can't tell you everything because national security. But yeah, you see, they're telling you how in Venezuela they were starting having their nose bleeding. They couldn't move. This is all these sonic radio waves things. They also have testimonials, but this is from a long time ago. Testimonials of people who said that they were working in nuclear facilities and all of a sudden everything was shut off. These were aliens trying to prevent men from develop these technologies. But maybe the aliens are us from the future, literally humans or even technologies that we already had, but the general public didn't know about it. I'm pretty sure drones have existed for a long time before us, before right now that we all know about it. So General Kane, I'm a big fan. He's a very smart man. He reads a lot of books. He's very calm. He's the guy who will, the kind of guy I was talking about earlier that just brings peace. They step in the room and all of a sudden you feel safe and peaceful and he's quiet, but doesn't mean they're not going to go and destroy, your freaking dictator or go and kidnap a dictator in 5 minutes the next day. Actually, when you go to the FBI and these people, they always look super quiet and they do a lot of work on emotional intelligence also, but that's also, you got to learn to be kind and you got to learn to be ruthless, and that's what they do. Sometimes you have to make hard decisions, mostly in politics. So, me working with the guys would be great because you're gonna have the lethal guys and the nice little fairy, so we're gonna have good compromises, good working together. But big applause to that team. They're magical, they're very smart, they're using technology, using the science, making magic around the world. Donald Trump, I admire him because he's got a lot of attacks against himself, his family, insults. He's been treating all kinds of names. He's a billionaire. He doesn't even need to work, so I guess he really does care about politics, and he's a businessman. So sometimes people that are in business and they see things going nonsense, they get pissed off and they say, okay, I'm gonna go and fix things. So that's what he did. And I don't know how it is in America. The economy is not good. If it was, I would still be there, you know. But man, they're trying and they're fixing the world, and they understand that if you want to fix the economy on the ground, you need to prevent the threats for coming on this ground. So they had to go solve a whole bunch of things overseas. And also for American culture, it's very important and meaningful to stay the dominating power in the world. You know, they want to be the people who come and save you. They want to be the most efficient and lethal force, elite military in the world. Like, this is literally their thing. This is the culture of America. They want to stay at the top. So they're demonstrating that, helping people in the process, and that's what's going to guarantee national safety, protecting the people on the ground. Like I said, there's a lot of injustice in the world, and a lot of people attacking or disliking the United States because of these injustices. But I hope that me working in this government, we're going to try to put a little bit less budget in the Department of War and a little bit more budget into helping out those people and spreading good advertisement for America and making good deals and influencing the direction of the technology and of religions. It's a big thing because most wars in the world are wars of religion. Economy and religion, two big things. I'm not really good at economy. I'm good at financial survival things that I can help people with that. But I'll leave the economy to the guys, to the professionals, and I will work on what I do best, which is communication and religion, emotional intelligence, information, news, connecting people. Yeah. And now, how do we connect the conscious elite of our world, the military and oil-thirsty American government, and the new energy revolution that will balance our world towards our own sustainable abundance and salvation with science, art, and fashion, and dragons? Yeah, so William Brown, he should also get the Nobel Prize with Nassim Haramein. Actually, I should add a quote from him. He is so smart. The guy is just already an alien. He is so smart. Every time he's explaining the Einstein-Rosen bridge, which is kind of a wormhole that proves that they can do time travel, basically, already. They've been able to teleport an electron or stuff like this. So he will explain better than me, literally. But the protocol, yeah, AI, the conscious of the self, yeah, but they have created the anti-gravity formula. So watch the previous chapter. This is Adam Apollo also, that is very cool because he's an astrophysicist, but he also shares a lot about dragons and superpowers. I will let you read this chapter. I love that he posted that when I was writing this chapter about all the dragons. And you see, sometimes there are things happening while you're living that haven't happened yet. And like, you see, when I was talking about the two different dimensions, you see, I saw this picture and I was just posting this at the same time, and I was like, oh my God, look at that. It's just the manifestation, the elemental manifestation of that picture. This is just the interconnectedness, and this is power that lives through us and that we manifest then among our society. This is just incredible. All through the power of visuals, shapes, and forms, sacred geometry. Your body is the first temple you're building. Every cell is a temple. Every organ is an altar. Your spine is a lightning rod. Your sacral ball is a holy grail. When Thundery Craft speaks of bioelectricity, that voltage is moving through tissue. When Bahamut speaks of sapphire rivers, those waters flow through your veins. When Fyrak speaks of forged fire, that heat is your metabolism. When Eldariska speaks of mycelial networks, that web is your fascia, your gut. Yeah, so that's why he's putting the red dragon here. The root chakra, right? Your guts, your connection to the Kundalini, which is also all the power that crosses through your spine and your body and your blood. Yeah, so the hands of Thor, the hammer. This is also, look at Kim. She's so powerful. I love that picture. Yep, the Queen of Dragons. And the eyes. Yes, I'm gonna let you read all that, guys. This is just very visual. I don't need to explain. It's self-explanatory. This is my little talisman for the Nobel Prize. Now you know that things have changed a little bit. I'm rooting for the US governments, maybe the United Nations next year. Because really the United Nations, they've been just taking so much time. And I feel like this year we really need to have some violence. You need to take action, immediate action, quick, efficient, rapid action. And the world needed to see that, not to just like sit there and wait till someone does something. Yeah, the arc crystal. The arc crystal, once again, is a technology. So why is this in my chapter about magic? Because science, magic is now proven by science. So all the things that look supernatural, they're in fact now proven. So they replicated the energy of a black hole, which is like the vacuum force of the universe, right? And they put it in the lab grown. They grew a lab crystal within a vacuum frequency, right? So then the crystal carries this frequency, and by carrying it, it's going to influence there is a specific word I'm looking for. It will alter your own frequency as well by how do you call it? I forgot the word, sorry. I have it on the tip of my tongue, but by mirroring, something like this. Okay, by mirroring frequencies, your body will adjust the frequency and it just activates the waters in your body. You have a better circulation and it recodes your cells and everything. So supposedly it's good for for you. Because of course, if you're in a good frequencies, your cells, you're going to be in a frequency of healing. So your cells are going to be healing. Okay, if you're always in a bad frequency or negative thoughts, your cells are going to be in a degrading trend. Okay, so this is all about the love, divine love operating at quantum coherence. This is my domain. This is what I guard, the diamond heart of the cosmos that recognizes itself in every form and love. What it sees so completely that separation becomes impossible. This is us, our network. This, of course, is the creation, right? The portal of creation of the DNA. It's symbolic about life, the birth of life itself, but also the birth of a sacred oath. And when you see, you cannot unsee. This is all my poem. Actually, I'm going to read that because I wrote this, so I want to read it also. So, oaths are sacred. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Then what do you do with it? Do you realize that love is contagious? How it expands to everything around us, slowly making its way through challenges and doubts, reaching our heart until it blesses our eyes, not the other way around, only by sensing the good, the possibility, the dreams that were promised. Can you start looking at life with morals, accept the lessons, improve the methods, adjust the songs and guide our legends? When love is gone, all are traitors. The skies are dark and the days are sad. But when you find your family, when you hear that voice coming back in colors, oh man, how would it feel to hold your hand, to birth a new generation of conscious Vikings, to share a life doing just that, to live, to heal, to laugh, to yell at criminals and not give a damn unless they really want some. Love looks good on you, they say. Well, let's make sure it's here to last. Blessed, worshipped, protected, feeling inspired today. Good night. So yes, and of course, when I talk about all this love and things and holding your hand, it's not like trying to flirt with everyone. It's really like holding hands when they were doing these memorial ceremonies and stuff, or when Tony Robbins does his meditations, or closing your eyes, or even sometimes I'm just by myself and closing my eyes and I just imagine like holding hands, like people were not letting go of each other. You know, we're really a human family. And when they say, "Whoa, we have each other's back," like when they were picking up the soldier that was left alone in Iran, they spent like $2 million to go back and get him and everything. This is the real meaning of human family. Like, you're doing something for the United States military. We're not going to let you die in that mountains. We're coming for you. You know, when they do something, when they say something, they do it. So how would it feel to hold your hand and to actually really hold your hand and not just meditate about it or dream about it, but to actually show up and, you know, be family and just work and not be alone anymore. Like, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Okay, so we're almost done here. Making America safe again. This Kim Kardashian, once again, look at the cool colors. I love her drinks that she took the color of my painting. Also, so this painting I'm going to explain real quick. It's in my Oracle, Mother Earth Mandala Oracle. This is the New World. Okay, so the New World with the Fibonacci spiral. No, it's not a Fibonacci actually, this one, but it's a spiral where this is where we all walk like sheep, listening, following orders and everything that society tells us to become a good girl and a good boy. And you actually realize that you just hit the wall when you do that. And you don't, Aleph, it's a Hebrew sign. It's a Hebraic letter, okay, of change and evolution. And all of a sudden you start dancing with life a little bit more and realizing there is something else, and you're going through the up and down and the waves of lives, and then you're coming a little bit more agitated and rebellious. But this is when you get out of the spiral and you start actually growing the tree, the flowers, the fruits of your labor. The flowers means the realization of your projects. Okay, the tree that turns carbon dioxide into oxygen, and, you know, turn your anger into creative hire. So yes, so these were the dragons, the art crystals. I will let you read all about it. I do hope Nassim Haramein will win the Nobel Prize this year of physics with his art crystals, but not only for that, but for his finding on the origin of math and nature of gravity, where they provided the anti-gravity, the gravitational phase and magnetic phase formulas to create the spaceships. Okay, here I made a parallel between the shape of the arc, and he made a parallel also with his dragons, with the cultural dimension theory of Oshtet, who was an anthropologist. And this is it looks so simple, but actually I invite you to take a look at this graph to understand cultures, because I hear a lot of conservatives in America that are anti-Muslim. You know, this anti-Muslims, they say, oh, Muslims, they're all wild animals and stuff, which Rubio didn't say that. He said Hamas. They're all crazy animals, and unfortunately, there are people in the middle. But for most people who I know in America, they are scared of Muslims. They don't like Muslims because they don't understand the culture. In fact, you have to understand that they communicate differently. They're a lot louder, they're more aggressive, because it's all a religious connection. You know, they, for them, God is deep within. So if you want to reach God, you have to be really loud so God can hear you deep within the self. You know, the touch is, they all touch very strongly. They seem very aggressive. In fact, they're loud because God is within. When you're talking to an Asian, for example, there is a lot of distance between the people, a lot of respect, because for them, God is everywhere around, in the air, in the elements. They're a little bit more animist. So God is in everything around them. So they don't need to yell. Like God, just as soon as they stop talking, God hears it. God is the air. God is the wind. So their personal distance is going to be a lot bigger, larger, because they're already in that same space. Okay, so we're in the same room. If you're in the same room with someone, a Chinese person, it's already a personal distance for them because we're breathing the same air. It's already very personal. Which for a European, a personal distance is arm length. If I can touch you, it's personal distance. We can touch, we can hug, this is personal. But for Asian people, just breathing the same air in the same room is already a very intrusive, like personal connection. Okay, so you have the power distance index, indulgence versus restraint, individualism versus collectivism. See, in America, oh, you're communist. It's illegal. You're a communist. In America, it's individualism. Put your oxygen mask on first, and you gotta grind. Otherwise, you're a lazy loser. That's America. But sometimes collectivity, alone we go faster, and together we go further. Long-term orientation between short-term orientation. So that's also one of the things. People are like, oh, in goals, how much would you say your productivity in terms of this, in your last job, in your last things? I was like, well, my thing is a really long-term thing I've been building. Like, it hasn't manifested yet. It's in the ether, you know what I mean? In India, of course, they have a lot more spiritual conception of productivity, I guess, than in America, where everything is numbers and business. Then you have uncertainty avoidance. For me, uncertainty is painful. It's painful. For me, in America, they're like, you gotta move through uncertainty, blah, 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 you're gonna make it. I was like this when I was young and I didn't have a child. I didn't care about uncertainty. I was like, oh, tomorrow is just a surprise. I'm 20 years old. And when I lived with uncertainty, doors would open more easily because I didn't block my flow. But as soon as I had a kid and a house and the age goes up, you don't want to keep wondering what is going to be tomorrow. You get very aggravated. It gets just torture for me. It was really annoying to live all this. But that's how we also learn from each other. And it's really hard to find one perfect recipe for the whole world. Because of these cultural factors. But if we want to stop the wars, we need to at least teach people about it just so they understand. They don't think like you because of that. Yeah. So Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, they've been my mentors for a long time. Now I trade them for Rubio and Hexet. Our little angels of the government. But we still love you, Dean and Tony. If you're watching, hi. Won't forget about my best friends. I hope we get to meet at the Nobel Prize. Of course, they're giants, they're giants, and they've been pushing all these networks. Yep, Nobel Prize, Stand By Me, that's my painting, Stand By Me. And remember that quote, when I becomes we, illness turns into wellness. The keys. This is the research about the art crystal technology. They actually made comparisons of grass growing, wheatgrass growing with the art crystal in the middle and without the art crystals. And they saw the cell regeneration was pretty impressive. Kind of crazy. So these are all the Nobel Prize committee members for science that I put their pictures all over the place. Like, I hope they thought it was funny to put them here. So studying the files. Yes, today, guys, sorry, I had to go outside. I had to go run. I've been eating so much. I had to run outside. I had to be in the grass and touch the grass and do some push-ups and run. This is just sanity. It's the addendum to their research. With the art crystal, without the art crystal. So I hope that you guys are gonna like that. And to see that we can use crystals now to heal. Imagine the new healing techniques. We can just use crystals, which means we don't have to go back to the pharmacy. You can use the same crystals for a lifetime and prevent a lot of sicknesses and stuff. So all my Nobel Prize campaigns. This is when the spaceship came and kidnapped me in my dream. This is all about the disclosure, X-Files disclosure that Donald Trump is doing. My book was already written when they started, but we'll write another book, I guess, about it. This was all my little animist frame about our organizations, like the FBI, the hyena, the hammerhead, the NATO. Oh my God. Yes, that was funny, right? But that's it. And this is a portrait of Gretel. I want to spend time to present her. She's a healer. Mostly she's a medium and she paints. She does digital art to paint the soul maps of people. So if you're interested, you can contact her. Go to encodedfrequency.com or go through her social media. And you can request for her to make an artwork for you, your soul map, or to do a healing session with her. I did it. I did a session with her. I did a session with Isis channeling also. Of course, every time they came up with, this is not my map. I didn't put my map. Just because I didn't like it. It was because I didn't like it because the soul map that she painted was from a time of my life that was a fork in the road, right? And that was a time when I had a lot of trauma, the time that changed my life, basically. But it was not a good time that I liked. That was the most horrible time of my life but this is the moment that changed the course, my direction in my life. So that was a big moment, trauma that most likely is stuck right there in my DNA now, because when you have a big shock, you recode your DNA. Sometimes that's why the trauma is so hard to go, because it stays stuck in your DNA. This is why then you transmit it to your kids. So you have to do the healing process and stuff. And when she gave me the artwork, I got so mad. I wanted her to give me some healing, beautiful, golden colors, artwork. And she gave me this. First, that was almost the same thing of a painting that I had painting myself. at that time. So but that was funny. That was very accurate. The painting was good, but that was probably the thing that I had to take out of my mind, of my frequency. And so she took that, and I actually rejected it so bad that she broke her arm the next day. So I don't know if that was related, but like, she gave me the artwork and I canceled our session right away, and then she broke her arm the next day. So I don't know if this was related, but like, when I say the adrenaline, the anger and all this trauma and stuff, like, you have to heal yourself. And sometimes maybe she actually did the healing work. The work is done, mostly with those people, those very powerful healers. I'm not saying this to criticize, but I'm saying that sometimes healing goes through uncomfortable moment, and whether you realize it or not, the work is done. So, and the healers, sometimes they receive the charge. Like, if she's taking out a trauma from you, and she doesn't protect her energy very well, she will take the charge, and beam, like, she broke her arm the next day, or even like the same day. I'm not sure, but it was like really instant, and I was like, oops. So yes. So after that, of course, now it's something that I think it works, because it's something that I'm not really, I don't care about anymore. But for example, when I had one of these girls stay at my house, one of the healers, she's a really nice girl. She says she's a healer. She goes to people homes and stuff to do healing, like Reiki and stuff. But she doesn't cleanse herself well. And then she brought all these bad energies into my house. And then they would attack me. And every time, that's not her. I'm talking about another person. So I'm going to switch the thing. But so yeah, that friend who would stay at my house, every time she would come to my house, she would do her healing things on people and things. And every time she'd come live with me, I'd fall sick. I would fall sick every time. The first 2 weeks were good. After 2 weeks, I start isolating in my bed, in my room, staying more in my bed, staying more in my room. All of a sudden, Esteban gets sick, then I get sick. Next thing you know, we're all in bed sick. And she's there at the pool doing her thing. And I was like, no, girl, you're out. You're out. You're followed around by a whole bunch of entities that are stuck on you. And they're attacking to protect you. They're attacking everything that's around you. And right now, it's me and my kid. And you cannot be here. Take your shit energy of all the, because I was like, you're trying to heal people. You're not even healed yourself. You're in the middle of these stories, and you're trying to heal other people. You're being attacked. Those things were literally feeding off of her and attacking everything that would get close to her, because they were trying to get possession of the place. They've like energy vampires. I'm not saying she was the bad girl, but they were like, okay, now we got a new place. We got to expand, take possession of the place, attack what's here. And it was working, because I would end up just being locked up in my room sick, and me and my son, and they would have the house for themselves. So after that, and another day that, another thing also, like one day her car was not working. Her car was like dead, but dead, like not even a little, nothing. Like she would put the key, nothing. The car is completely dead. All of a sudden, she's like, hold on. And she was she was very powerful. She would be, hold on. She locks herself in her car for like 30 seconds. Like, what is she doing? And all of a sudden, the car starts like super strong. And I'm like, what the fuck? How did you do that? And I'm like, oh my God, that was awesome. How did you do that? She's like, I channeled the divine energy. I'm like, holy schmoot. Wow, okay, you're good at channeling the divine energy. And then she leaves, and I go home, and the power is out. And I call my neighbor, and I was like, hey, is the power out in your she's like, oh yeah, the power is out. And I go, and the entire neighborhood power is out. And then this is when I understood. I was like, she's not a healer. She's an energy vampire. She's taking the energy from and leaves. She's not returning the energy. And this is what she was doing. She was taking my life force. She was taking the power grid from my neighborhood to start her car. And this is all she was taking for her, but not no reciprocity. So that's the difference. So you can have the divine. She was like, no, you're not channeling the divine energy. You're sucking on my electricity. So that's the thing. Okay, so this is real. Those magical powers are real, but you have to learn to use it to protect yourself. Mostly if you're a healer, and you're solving trauma, you're removing just like a needle, right? The swords that is stuck in Achilles, you said. Achilles ankle, right? You're taking out that sword, but be careful that you're not planning it onto yourself after. If you're taking out the trauma, you have to put it away, and sometimes it's so powerful because I have a very strong energy too, and this girl right here, she has a very strong energy too. So when the two healer strong channels connect like this, usually there is energy exchange, very powerful energy exchange going on. So I thank you, Gretel. Even though we did not have the session, I know there was indeed a healing. I'm sorry that you got hurt in the process. Maybe it was not related, but there's no coincidence in general. And yes, and even see the arrow. You see the arrow, the constellations, and all these is always meaningful. So yes, I hope you think that's interesting. For me, it's very interesting to tell you all these stories. Architecture, magic, because I love when they making beautiful architectures that are going to flow those frequencies through the shapes, the symbols. I think, what was it? I think I saw that the Obama Centers looks like the Philae temple. I'm not sure if it was right or not, but I saw that what was it? The throne of Isis. Yes, the Obama Center has the shape of the throne of Isis. So very interesting. The Gem Museum. So I'm presenting 3 new architectures that are just opened or are going to open like within, this decade. The Obama Center, the Gem Grand Egyptian Museum, and the new Nobel Peace Center. So these are 3 great architectures that I wanted to congratulate people and feature in my book, because wow, Grand Egyptian Museum in Egypt. And then you have a little workshop. If you were a queen, what would people remember you for? A queen who made education a right for everyone. Wisdom, justice, a queen who is fierce and strong, but also nurturing and very passionate. So these were all people they interviewed. I love that video. The Nobel Peace Center Museum, that they published the map. So yes, I hope that I will get one of my paintings in there one day or more if they want to. That would be an honor. Be so cool. And who is your favorite Nobel Prize winner? Yeah, I'm talking about my favorite Nobel Prize winner, which is Rigoberta Menchú, because South America is my second home. I love Latinos. I love South America. I've lived in Peru for almost 2 years. And she was empleada. And for me, going to Peru, there was families that had maids in uniform and everything. And I was shocked. I was like in the old movies. In France, we don't have maids. That does not exist. Maybe you will have someone who come and help you cleaning your house. you know, but we don't have like the maid that lives in the little uniform, and mostly where you have places that are forbidden to maids in uniform and things like this. So she wrote her story, and she, you know, her destiny. I love what I wrote here, actually. Mine is Roberta Menchú, because she was just a tiny woman. She didn't even know how to write, but she collaborated with Elizabeth Burgos to write her story, a destiny that was already decided. She would be a servant with no opportunities in life, but she denounced the reality of her caste and made history. An angel. And that makes me think about Kim Kardashian, because, you know, she's not a writer, but she's definitely a muse, the inspiration behind a lot of my writings. And when I wanted to give up, and she would embellish the things I do. So it was like a very deep relation of reciprocity, because I would do something, she would embellish it, that would make me feel more confident and keep going, and so on and so on, until we brought all this network, you know. And she used her notoriety to bring interest towards my work as well, you know. So empowering people empowered both of us. So that was really cool. Beautiful stories. I love this book so much. Beautiful stories of people having a good time, difficult times, you know, being heroes, making mistakes, having dreams, in the middle of a world that sometimes is a nightmare. So dramas and fears and tears and inspiration and joys and excitement. This is all that is in these books. Amazing prayers and speeches from the greatest leaders in the world. The Obama Foundation Centers. What I love is that Obama is really about the people. You know, he's really about empowering communities. So I love that he did that, and it's true. You have to be present in the moment with the people around you. Of course, the United Nations, they have great graphic design teams, and unfortunately, like, I hope they will still be there when, after all the you know, the United States did not pay their dues, so they're gonna have a lot of people fired. This is about my grandmas, and little stories about, you know, my grandmas. That's my family. It's my dad. We put her ashes somewhere in the mountain, this cool place with the view on the ocean. And that's it. So from here, from my modest beginnings and my little mountain and family, you know, my dad, who sacrificed his entire life working a job that he did not like, just so he could buy this little home where I am here. He's got a little apartment in Nice where he's at. But for me, to be able to have a place to stay, this is what I wanted to give to my child. That's why I left America, because I didn't want to sell my home. So I gave it away to my ex, even though that was my dream home. But so my son could have it. Because if you have kids and you're not giving them a roof, why do you have kids? I feel like you should make life easier for your kids than it was for yourself. And I think having a home is the minimum. Because once you have a home, you don't have to worry about much. Even if you don't make a lot of money, but you don't have to worry about paying rent, then your whole salary goes for you and your bills. But it's not going to take 70% of your paycheck to pay for your rent. So if you have kids, you need to buy them a home. That's the minimum. So that's my take. And see, I'm grateful that my dad did that, and he sacrificed his whole life doing something he did not like, just so, like, he could buy these places eventually that I have it. So that's cool. Well, I didn't think I would stay here that early. Thank God he's not gone yet, but apparently for me, yeah. Anyways, so where are you guys at? You're still in the plane? You're coming to pick me up? Legends. And that's it. The next chapter tomorrow will be about the literature classics. This was a very long video because I wanted to tell you all the stories. This morning when I woke up, I really wanted to be outside. I really wanted to feel the connection with the environment. Before I recorded this video, I went to a waterfall. That was so beautiful. That was so amazing. I went to swim under the waterfall. There was a little pot of water that was super clean, even though there was like snakes and stuff. But that was amazing. So, and I saw this little cat, like, it's good here. It's beautiful. I needed, yeah, nature. Mostly if you're depressed, go out in nature, you know. I was like, I can't just stay here and drink every day. I'm gonna get fat. So I need to go out, do some running, do some push-ups, be outside, feel like I'm one with the environment, and see little miracles and stuff, and then come home and do my work. All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you for watching.